Hey everybody, it's Mike Jeffers, Chicago Jazz Magazine, ChicagoJazz.com, and welcome to episode, I better turn this down a little bit, of course, episode 4. It's Thursday, episode 4 of the quarantine sessions here, Chicago Music Revealed. We have quite a show. Actually, we're going to be talking to Bob Stroger, the legendary bassist from Chicago, who is stuck in Sweden right now. So we're going to talk, or Switzerland. We're going to talk to him. I got a little confused because I talked to yesterday, Mershing, who is from Sweden, but he is in Switzerland right now. So we're going to talk to Bob here shortly, but I wanted to bring up a couple of people. Again, I need to preface this whole thing. There's a lot of stuff happening on the Chicago music scene these days, and we need to be aware of that. We've got an entire list of clubs, venues, staffs that need your help. All of that is on ChicagoJazz.com. We've got a banner at the top of the page. Everything is up there, and it's very easy to get there. So if you can help out in any way, it would be great. Obviously, a lot of the clubs we all know are looking for help for their staff, not even the musicians. Obviously, all the musicians are in a bad way. Everybody in the entertainment business is in a bad way these days. But the staff of all these venues have also been furloughed. So it's very important. If you can help in any way, visit ChicagoJazz.com. We've got GoFundMe and Relief Fund links to all of the ones that we've gotten. If you have any that you would like us to add, hit us up, send us an email. You can DM us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also email us through info@chicagojazz.com. We'll get all that stuff straight up. Now, I need to preface this whole thing, as I do every day on the show. I am running the board myself, so when there is a big mistake, it's my fault, and it is what it is, so who cares? That's why it's a live show. That's what we're dealing with here. All right, so first off, sad news. I hate the fact that we have to even cover any of this stuff. Ellis Marsalis, the matriarch of the Marsalis family, passed away last night from coronavirus. Horrible. Obviously, he was a legend. Branford, Delfeo, Winton, all of them were there. Jason Marsalis, all of them came up. They're all jazz legends themselves, and they were all because of Ellis Marsalis spearheading the way. So he will be greatly missed. I know I talked to somebody yesterday who just saw him perform. I think he was down in New Orleans. Saw him perform back in 2019, like in December, and he looked great, sounded great. So it's a horrible tragedy. He's going to be really missed greatly in the music scene, but also just so that everyone knows, there's a lot of tributes up online. I know Downbeat did a great article on him that's posted today, and a lot of other magazines. So we'll have something on ChicagoJazz.com, but things are coming so fast, and because we're such a small magazine, we had to let a lot of our writers and contributors and stuff, take it easy, I guess you would say, on the staff. So hopefully we'll get something up, but that's why we're doing this regular show here on Chicago Jazz Magazine, ChicagoJazz.com, and of course, Chicago Music Revealed. So moving on to the next one, more sad news. Bucky Pizzarelli passed away. And again, it's the same thing, COVID-19, the coronavirus. Bucky Pizzarelli, again, the father of John Pizzarelli. But Bucky, a 7-string guitar player, one of the legends in the field, been around forever. He was in his 90s, I believe. And so he's going to be really greatly missed. But again, this virus is taking some of the legends from us. And, let's hope that we get this whole thing under control. So everybody, please stay in your homes, stay safe, social distance, listen to what the government is saying, actually, at least the Illinois government, to wash hands, stay away from people, and hopefully we'll hit the curve and bend it back down. And we'll all be back out enjoying live music and eating in restaurants and dining out very soon. Now we have one more bit of sad news, and this does not have to do with the coronavirus, but it has to do with the White Sox. The great legend Ed Farmer passed away last night. He has been battling kidney disease for many, many years, and I know he had a transplant years ago. One of the legends of the White Sox. I'm obviously a White Sox fan, so that's why we're talking about him. He was 70 years old. He passed away last night. So, Ed, you're going to be greatly missed coming up. Hopefully the season starts sometime this summer, but there's a lot of great Farmio moments. If you go on YouTube, he's got a lot of great Farmio moments. And down here in the Bridgeport area. Always saw him out on the street. Always class act. Loved talking to him. He'd talk to anybody. It didn't matter. And if you bothered him enough, he'd tell you to beat it. So you got to love that. So Ed Farmer, you're going to be greatly missed. Now, we've got to move on to some business because, of course, there's a lot of live performances happening on Facebook these days. And I just want to mention a couple. If you have any live performances coming up, hit me up. Send me a comment. Send me a DM. Touch base with me so that we can promote them. I caught a couple of these and some of our good friends here over at the Chicago Jazz Magazine. Miles Hayes and Amanda Wolf, they're going to be doing a live from their living room concert. It's presented by the Cedarburg Cultural Center. So that's where you're going to have to find it. It's tonight at 7 p.m., Thursday, April 2nd, 7 p.m. Check that out. That's going to be live on the Cedarburg Cultural Center Facebook page. They're always great. Plus, their son, Aiden, I'm sure will make an appearance, and a whole lot of great stuff. And they're very entertaining to begin with. So, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of laughs, a lot of good entertainment happening there, and you never know what they're going to do because they're just fun people to listen to and check out and watch. So, Miles Hayes and Amanda Wolf tonight, 7 p.m. And then we've got Liz Mandeville, the great blues musician from Chicago. She's doing a special happy hour blues performance, I'm assuming from her house or from a studio somewhere, at 6 p.m. tonight. That's going to be on her Facebook page. So all of these different Facebook events are happening. I've been digging them. I've been checking them out as they've been happening. So it's pretty cool. So check all that out. If you have something coming up, please let us know. Hit us up, DM us, and we will be sure to mention it tomorrow on the show. And, of course, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. So hit us up. Let's talk, and we'll get something up on the show to promote. Now, we've got Bob Stroger all the way from Switzerland. Bob, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Listen to your show.
How are you? I'm glad we connected. We talked yesterday for a minute. And you're stuck over there. I'm assuming you were on tour, and then all of this happened, and now you can't get back. But it almost seems like you're in a better place to be stuck probably than here in the States, huh?
Yes, I'm blessed in a way, and it's a scary situation all over the world. But I'm happy that if I'm gonna be stuck, I'd rather be stuck in Switzerland because I got some friends in Switzerland. I'm staying with a friend now that I don't have to worry about trying to pay hotel until things get better.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of a nasty situation. We all kind of frightened out here, but I just hope I can get back to the States pretty soon.
How is it over there? I mean, obviously in the States, the coronavirus is spreading across the States. I mean, how is it over there? Is it fairly well contained, or do they have things locked down? Or
we're all down on lockdown. I can't get a flight back to Chicago as of yet, but I was talking to my friend today and say Switzerland, Lausanne here is Switzerland is kind of leveling out. So let's hope things steady go down. But I was talking to some friends. Music is really a family affair. I was talking to some friends in Italy. They were checking up on me, and I was telling them that I was stuck over here, and they was asking me, well, what you should do is play music, and music will kind of keep the spirit up. And I said, well, I didn't bring my bass with me because I came over to do a couple of shows with a friend of mine that we just cut a short CD together. And I didn't bring my bass. And bless God, the next 3 days, he had to send me a brand new bass to play on. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that is really nice. So, blues is a family, and we all kind of stick together.
That's right. That's right. Who were you? So you left here. When did you play? Were you playing like in the beginning of March over there or something? Because you must have been over there just before.
I think I played I had the 4th and the 5th of March.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a couple of shows and did a few interviews. And believe it or not, I've been in ever since. I've been in the house for over for 2 weeks
No kidding.
or 3 weeks. Well, it's my worth to say a month because I went out once after I did the gig, and so I'm stuck in the house. So far as I go is to the balcony, and we play games here on the computer. We play the bass, and we sit in the sun, and we cook together. So all in all, I'm blessed. At least I'm not alone through these crises. I'm with somebody that we can kind of share things and talk. But nothing like home. I'll be glad to get back home, but I'm kind of afraid to come back right now.
Yeah, it almost sounds like you're in a better situation here. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard a lot of news. I know our friend Dave Katzman checks in with you, and he's the one that told me that you were over in Switzerland, and it'd be good to check in with somebody like you that's kind of in another country that's stuck over there. And I totally agree. But here, I think Chicago people are starting to people are locking down really. I mean, as good as they possibly can for a big city, but I mean, there's still a lot of expansion of this virus in the States right now compared to Switzerland, I'm sure. So I think you're in a better place over there and let things cool down over here for a while before you come back. And you could be stuck in a lot worse places too, I suppose.
Well, yeah, just think if I was in any other country, I'd probably be trying to fight hotels, trying to figure out how I'm going to play hotels. But as I say, I'm very blessed to be staying with a friend. Don't have to worry about food and paying for hotels.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, you've traveled all over the world, obviously, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And has anything ever like this ever, not maybe not the virus, but have you ever been stuck somewhere because of like a quarantine situation? You've probably been stuck places because of like, civil unrest or war or something like that somewhere. But I mean, have you ever been stuck somewhere where you cannot get out because of like a quarantine situation?
No, never in my life. That's really so scary. Right now I can't hardly sleep too good at night thinking, when is this gonna be over? And then you kind of worry about it too because you're an older person. They said it really attack older people more so, and so that stay on your mind. So it's just a situation I never been in before in my life.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I don't think anybody's ever been in this kind of situation, but I also think that I love the fact that we're talking because I think, a lot of the news is always focused on, for good reason, the medical experts and doctors and nurses and trying to get the different appropriate medical supplies to the different places throughout the country. But then they're focused on some of the workers that have been laid off and stuff. But, the musicians, especially somebody like you who's like, luckily you have friends over in Switzerland that you can stay with, like you said. But I mean, I'm sure there's musicians everywhere that were traveling and touring, and all of a sudden, all of the shows, all of the venues closed down, and they're stuck somewhere, and they can't get back. This,
yeah,
there's,
yeah, it really it's a bad situation. I'm one of the blessed ones, but it's still scary. Nothing like home, but it's kind of funny to be afraid to go home.
yeah,
Because usually when I go out on tour, when I get to the airport, I feel like kissing the ground. So glad to be back home. But now I'm in a position now that I'm afraid to come home, and so that's scary in itself.
that's right. That's right. I was talking to somebody, and it's like anything, especially with the music industry. If everybody could just say, "Hey, you know what, Bob? Don't worry about it. Everything's cool. April 30th, everything will be absolutely fine. You come back to the States, everything will be good." Or for the vice versa, right? Everybody in Chicago, the clubs are going to open up April 30th. No problem. Everybody will be able to go out. It'll be, but this is the kind of thing where they can't predict it. And I think that unknown is the unsettling thing for everybody.
Yeah, that'd be a blessing. That'd be a blessing in itself.
Oh yeah. Well, let's talk
Uh,
about some happier stuff because I mean I know a lot of people that are watching this or will watch this on the replay know you, but you and I talked at the front porch stage last summer. I don't know if you remember when we were doing the front porch sessions and I sat down with you at the front of the stage
yeah,
there and we were talking a little bit. We only had about 10 minutes. You and I could have talked for 2 hours about your career, obviously. But since you're over and you're on tour and you're in Europe, you're in Switzerland and touring around, let's talk a little bit about back in the day. I mean, when you would go over, because right now it seems like the blues musicians, the jazz musicians, even some of the Latin and the singer songwriters and stuff, when they go to Europe, the audiences are very appreciative. They love the music. They love it when somebody from America and especially a Chicago blues man comes over to Europe. They go crazy about it. So when was the first time? Can you remember the first time you actually went out of the country and went to Europe and went on tour with somebody? You remember who that was with?
yes, I never will forget it. I'm trying to think of what year it was. Must have been the uh, earlier middle 70s or 80s,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Otis Rush gave me my first tour to Europe. I think we played in Nice, France. Oldest band, and I will forget Junior Well, Buddy Guy, and yeah, and who else was on that? One of the Neil brothers. Oh, can't think of his name. Not a guitar player, but we was all together, and he was playing bass at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
that'd been years ago. So I owe a lot of my career to Otis, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel so comfortable here because I have a band with Mississippi Heat, the one did the first festival for Luzon Blues Festival. So
Oh
this
wow.
is this is home to me.
Yeah, man. But
Very well known. When I did the show, all the guys from the big wheels from the festival came down to see me last month. So it was great. I have lots of friends here.
oh, that's great. That's great. What was it like back then? I mean, nowadays, when you go on tour, I mean, it's kind of like everybody takes it for granted that you get there and you get picked up from the airport or you have call an Uber these days and get to the hotel and stuff. But when you're over there with Otis and all those guys. I mean, what was that like? I mean, was it organized or was it like you guys landed and it was like you were trying to, you got picked up and taken somewhere, but then you guys had to fend for yourself probably back then and find a way to
Well,
get to the next place, right?
it was better in a way, and it was worse because back in the day, wasn't no too many of the European guys was doing our music too well, and it was hard uh, to do it by yourself, so that you could bring a band over there. But now it's changed so much, the European guys can play your music. Now it's hard to bring a band over. Listen to a big star. I would like to bring a band over, but I don't guess I'm big enough. But I got guys over here that I work with throughout Argentina and all through South America and
Mm.
Italy, so they know all about stuff. But it was really fun back in the days because you could bring your own band, your own musicians. So what's happening now is a little worse because the side men kind of get left out of the thing. Lots of the musicians come over, the leaders come over, but they come over and play with the bands over here, and the band they work with at home, they struggling for gigs. So it can be good and bad either way. It's
Yeah.
so lucky. I was forced in to try to lead my own band, which I never wanted to do. All I wanted to do was play, but fortunate I did kind of take that route, and that kind of kept me working, because as you get older, you don't get so many calls, so you have to kind of do it on your own.
Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of calls for anybody, no matter what age it is these days. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. So when you're in Chicago, for all of the people watching the show and listening to the show on the podcast, when we play that out, I mean, when you're in Chicago, you're always playing. You're constantly working. I mean, I remember when I talked to you last summer, I think you were playing like 5 times that same weekend or something. I mean, it's just super busy during Blues Fest, obviously. But when you're in Chicago, who or where are you normally playing? I mean, are you playing all the usual spots, or are you doing different hits, or what are you normally
Well,
at?
or when I'm in Chicago, I do a lot of the gigs in the suburbs. The band when I was with at the festival. By the way, if things work clean up, I'll be at the festival again this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the band I usually work with, and I do a lot of work with my friend Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of keep busy, but mostly my travel, my work is in Europe. I do a lot of traveling to Europe back and forth.
Yeah, there's a lot of blues musicians, especially, and now some of the jazz musicians are getting back onto a circuit over there that I know of. But the blues musicians, you guys have always had some great promoters over there and some great venues that you can always connect with and put together a tour and put together kind of a circuit over there, I would imagine. So, when you're in Chicago, that's the thing that's always baffling to me is that when we're at the Chicago Blues Fest, because I sponsor it and all that, and then I'm on stage and I'm doing the interviews and things. And, the thing that's baffling to me is that the people in Chicago take for granted all of these world renowned blues musicians that they can see every single night. Because when you guys go out of town, even if it's in the States, when you guys go to another state, people go nuts. They can't believe that you're there in another state. But then when you're in Chicago, everybody's like, oh, yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see them tomorrow at the Kingston Mine.
Exactly.
No, well, it is kind of crazy, you can be in Chicago, next door neighbor don't know you're a musician,
Right.
but when I come to Europe, it's like when I come to South America, uh, I do the Mississippi Blues Festival. Believe it or not, I have to have bodyguards with
No
me, you know.
kidding, really?
And I just did a show two years ago. How many were 5,000 people, wasn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, 10,000 people. 20,000 people
20,000.
here.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was screaming to the top of the lungs. So it's just a different when we come over here. I guess seem like we more appreciate it.
Sure, yeah, of course, of course. And I'm sure it pays a little bit better than like a club on Halsted Street, right?
Yeah, well, uh, that's another thing. I when I started playing music, I think God gave me a talent, and I want to spread my talent. I want people to know about me. I just didn't want to play in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I want to travel the world. I want a lot of people heard me on playing on mostly everybody played the blues, but I want people to get a chance to see me. So that's really I'm traveling, and so as long as I have my health and strength, I'm not thinking about retiring.
That's right. That's right. Well, I mean, for music, I mean, it's in your blood. And that's one of the things too that I find fascinating because I mean, you're playing bass and you are headlining shows and you're performing all over the world and everything, but you're also able to slide into different situations and play with all sorts of different. Because I've seen you play with all sorts of different bands, whether you're a sideman, whether you're leading or whatever. I mean, you can slide in, and I know myself as a drummer, you and I talked a little bit about this when we were at the Blues Fest, but myself as a drummer, it's always interesting because a lot of times when you're playing with a bass player who just can go with the flow and understand what's happening, the drummer and the bass player can lock straight into no matter what's happening and everything's fine. But then once in a while, I find a bass player that is like, I'm putting this right where I want to have it, and I don't care what else is going on, and I'm driving forward. Or the drummer does the same thing. I mean, from when you were coming up and learning how to play and learning how to play music in general, you must have played with so many different musicians. What was kind of your thought process when you're sitting there? Are you like, you know what, I'm just going to kind of fit in, figure out what's going on, and then go in that direction? I mean, is that the way you think about it when you're playing outside of maybe your main group?
Yes, well, that's our job. The bass player and the drummer got to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is to listen, and actually, we're the one control the band. Right? Or we the one leads the band. We can drive the front man, and we can bring them down where they're supposed to be. And yeah, I'm proud of my job. Just like I say, the bass is the heartbeat.
Yep.
And when I'm playing with the uh, musicians outside of my range, people didn't come to see me; they come to see the artist. And
Mm-hmm.
my job is to make the artist sound the best I possibly can. If I make him sound good, I done did my job. So that's where I always felt the music. You never play over the leader. You listen to him and you playing behind the leader because that's who people coming to hear. They paying money to come to see the leader, not you. Not the leader can't play with the bass player. They say the bass player can't play with the leader.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Well, and I always think, and you've probably heard these bands from the audience, where if you have a bad bass player or a bad drummer, I don't care how good the leader is, it's not going to be happening. It's going to be
no,
a
no,
long
no.
night.
Our job is to make the leader sound
That's right.
good. If it's a singer or guitar player, our job not to overplay him.
That's right.
Play his groove. I know when I'm back in the day when I played with Snooky Pryor, I know the lines that he liked. And I would play that line all night if that make him feel he comfortable there and that's where he wanna be. So that's my job is to make him sound good, not for the people to know how many notes I can play or how good I can play because they're not paying a dime to come to see me.
That's right.
They're paying to see the leader.
That's right. That's right. That right there is worth college education to a lot of people. You know what I mean? Just hearing that from somebody like you. So I'm glad you talked about that because I think a lot of people are going to hear that. And sometimes, some of the younger musicians and some of the older musicians need to hear that every once in a while.
Oh yeah, well, music can change so much. I back in the day, uh, the bass and the drummer was the percussion of the band. So he listened and let everything up and kind of hold the front together. But now it's sometime the bass player or the drummers they get carried away and start playing what they know, not what showing people how much they can do and don't give a darn how it makes the band sound, because the band is only as good as the weakest man in the band.
That's
That
right.
if you play over that, it's not gonna sound good.
That's exactly right. That's a great way for everybody to hear that, and it's also a great way for us to kind of wrap this up. I'm so glad that we're connected. It sounds like you're safe. Sounds like you're in a good spot over there in Switzerland. If you don't get back in the next 2 or 3 weeks, let's touch base again and we can get another update because this is fascinating to me that we're able to talk to somebody like you who's stuck over in Switzerland because of the coronavirus and you're safe. And it's just one of those other things that you never hear about from the news about the entertainment world. That's when you shut this stuff down, you shut down a lot of stuff and you affect a lot of people throughout the entire world. And it's just a ripple effect. So I'm glad you're safe. Everything is good. And I'm glad you were able to call in and we were able to touch base today, Bob. But keep us posted on what's happening so we can let everybody else know on the audience what's happening.
Okay, all right. Thanks for having me on your show.
Definitely. All right. Thanks, Bob. Take care.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye. Well, I love Bob. Bob's a great guy. I met him last year for the first time at the Chicago Blues Fest. Sweetheart of a guy. He's stuck in Switzerland because of this coronavirus. I'm glad we got him on the phone. Thanks to Dave Katzman for hipping me to that and connecting us because there's so many other musicians. I can only imagine when I heard about this yesterday, there's so many other musicians that are probably stuck somewhere over in Europe or even in the States and they can't get back to Chicago for one reason or another. It's just, it's mind-boggling, the ripple effect of this whole thing. And again, as I started the show, we've got an entire setup on ChicagoJazz.com for all the different funds that are up there, the GoFundMe sites, plus the relief funds that are up there for musicians. Also, the Department of Cultural Affairs Special Events sent me an email. I'm going to put this up on ChicagoJazz.com today as well. And it is a fund for artists. So you can fill that out, and potentially you can get a grant up to $1,500, kind of a stipend to keep you through a little, help you out with a little bit of funding. And then there's also organizational funds too that I saw on there between $3,000 and $6,000. Now I haven't read all the ins and outs of that yet. I'm doing that today to find out what the situation is with that, who's available, who's able to get that, and all that will be up on ChicagoJazz.com as well later today. So that's through the Department of Cultural Affairs Special Events through the City of Chicago. I think there's a state fund too that's about to come out. If it hasn't come out already, we'll post that up there. And then, of course, the federal stimulus as well. All of the artists here that watch the show, I hear from a lot of you throughout the day. I get emails, I get texts, I get some phone calls. Keep them coming. Let's connect as a community. That's why I'm doing this show every morning, 10:30 a.m.-ish. Today we were right on schedule because I didn't have to mess around with Skype and I didn't have a whole crash on my technical side. But, be sure to keep us connected, keep logged in. We're going to be launching a brand new website, Chicago Music Revealed, next week, which is exciting. So we'll be able to host all of these things on that website. And all of this is on podcast as well as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're watching this, no matter when you're watching this, please share it. Share it along, pass it along. I'm trying to connect with everyone in the Chicago music community, not just jazz, not just blues, but everyone. We're going to have some singer-songwriters on. We're going to have some rock musicians. We had Roy McGrath on, great Latin sax player. We're going to have some others coming up. And if there's artists around that would love to talk to you as well, we've got everything happening. Of course, one of the great things too, and it stopped a lot of our momentum, but I'm going to bring this up because I think it's important. It's very important to me, is that I am the new Director of Programming and Entertainment at the Epiphany Center for the Arts, which is at 201 South Ashland Avenue. And we're going to open up at the end of April. Now that's going to be pushed, obviously. But there's 3 different performance venues there, plus a 3,000 square foot art gallery. There's 125 art positions throughout the entire space. It's a 42,000 square foot art, entertainment, and event center. And we are looking forward to opening that up. We're keeping the ball rolling. We're starting to book things into the summer, into the fall. So if you're interested in that, hit me up. Shoot me a DM on all that stuff too. We can talk about that. But the Epiphany Center for the Arts, Director of Programming and Entertainment, very proud to be able to say that I am doing that as well. And we're going to keep all this stuff cranking because at some point, everything is going to break loose and we're going to be back to somewhat normal. But in the meantime, stay safe. Be sure to... Let me get my music coming up here. Here comes my sound effect music coming up. Be sure to stay safe. Wash those hands. I cannot tell you, man, I smell like bleach all the time. And to be honest with you, it smells good. So stay safe, social distance. Check everything out on Facebook that I mentioned. We got some great shows. One more time, Amanda Wolf, Miles Hayes tonight, 7 p.m. That's going to be on the Cedarburg Cultural Center Facebook page. We've got Liz Mandeville, the great bluesist, blues performer, guitar, vocals. She's going to be doing a special happy hour blues on her Facebook page at 6 p.m. And, of course, there's a whole host of other really cool stuff. Actually, Dan Nichols yesterday posted a video of him and his dog performing the ABBA hit Dancing Queen, not to be missed. So check that out. That's posted up on Dan's Facebook page. It's classic. I'm trying to get the dog on to do an interview next week, so we'll find out about that. I have got to work on some sponsorship details. Apparently he likes peanut butter and cookies, so we'll work that out. But I digress. All right, in the meantime, everybody stay safe. I will see you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. And it's looking like we're going to probably have a little phone call in from our good friend Nick Schneider. He's going to call in from the western suburbs with an update on his situation. And also we're going to remember Bobby Ojeda, who passed away earlier this week. Great trumpeter, legend. And we're going to talk a little bit with him about Bobby. And I think we might even touch base with Tom Mueller if we can get him on the phone tomorrow as well, along with a couple other surprises. It's Friday tomorrow. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Everybody staying tuned. Leave me a post, send me a like, share this out, leave a comment, DM me if you have a performance coming up on Facebook that we should be promoting. Any relief funds, DM me, leave it in the comments. And until tomorrow, hopefully we will see you somewhere on the scene soon. But if not, we'll see you tomorrow on the cast, 10:30 a.m. Facebook Live. Thanks for watching. Stay safe.